Okay, so we're gonna go through like binder reviews and construction agreement review. So after the post-trade law huddle, the PDs will book what's called binder reviews, and that's internal meetings. I'm pulling up the pulse so you can kind of see like process-wise where it comes in. But basically what the binder is the package that we're putting together for that construction agreement. And it's being reviewed. It'll be turned over to the salesperson so they know what they're selling, if that makes sense.
Yep.
So I'm in the middle of the Siler one right now, so we'll use that as the example. So let me share my screen. So you know the pulse.
Yep.
So for Siler, we had our trade walk last month, and we already had a post-trade walk huddle as well. We've already sent out the pricing set. So right now I'm collecting trade quotes from people.
Right.
So basically after post-trade walk huddle, when we're doing like the bid set and all that, we're doing binder review meetings.
Got it.
So the binder review is in preparation for these binder turnovers.
Got it.
The binder turnovers become the executive summary meeting, which becomes the construction agreement.
Got it. So the pulse is a better place to look for the chronological order of where this happens versus the attendees at meetings at them.
Yeah, this is better because it tells you your deadlines too. So for Siler this week, we're supposed to be having, you see right here, the binder turnover to estimator and sales. Today is the 16th. I'm supposed to get it to Denny by the 18th and then to the salesperson by the 20th. But the binder turnover is different than the binder reviews. The binder reviews, like I was just showing you, but I'll show you again because I wasn't recording yet. After the post-trade walk huddle, I booked Siler binder review number 1, and that's with the lead designer, the selections person, and the estimator, and the PD.
Lead,
the project developer.
elections, estimator, project developer.
Yep. So I booked one the week of the 2nd. I booked a second one the next week, and then I booked a third one because this is a larger project for tomorrow. So in those meetings, what we do is the Siler. Denny pulls up he'll pull up the second presentation and he'll resave it before we make any edits. And then as a team, we literally just go down line by line to make sure we're all on the same page. So it's mostly for like material and selections. So like we'll go down and say, okay. And then for my side, the trade. So I'm like, okay, I need a demo trade, which we already knew that, but this is like our triple check, right? At this point, I've already invited people, I've already requested bids and things like that. But occasionally I'll open this roof framing and without, maybe somehow it got missed and I see trusses in here. I'm like, oh, there's trusses on this project. I totally missed that. I got to make sure I get a truss quote. So it's just like a triple check, right?
Got it.
So that's the big thing. So like windows, when there's a lead designer and a selections person, sometimes the lead designer is the selections person. So like there's one person that has to do everything and like they know that, right? But other times, like on this project, Nina and Chris is the lead, Nina's the selection. So we just want to make sure like typically the lead designer will do like the exterior things like the windows and the exterior doors and things like that. And the selections person will do like the plumbing fixtures and things like that. So we're just making sure that we're all aligned on who's doing what so that Chris doesn't think Nina's doing windows and Nina doesn't think Chris is doing windows. Like we're all aligned. So Denny and I are kind of leading this meeting. And so I'll be like, okay, I see there are some windows here. Chris, are you getting that quote or is Nina getting that quote? And, you know, Chris, the lead designer, will say, oh, I'm going to do that because I got to do like the elevations. I kind of need to be in that part of it anyways. So that's just kind of making sure we get quotes. If we know we're not going to get a quote and we're going to use an allowance, we put that in here. We just run down line by line. Like we'll go down plumbing. And something that Mark said to me was, because he had to do a couple of these when I was on maternity leave, he was like, wow, I get so much information out of these meetings that I would have never had. Like I would have never gotten out of the designers otherwise. And because they'll just be like, oh yeah, like, you know, they are doing a soap dispenser because that's not standard. So they're like, make sure there's a soap dispenser. So we'll make sure it's in there. If it's missing, we'll add it. And then make a note that like, you know, that was an upgrade to have a soap dispenser. And all these conversations translate into an executive summary. So like everything is kind of happening at the same time. We're making sure the estimate is up to date. So like the designer is updating the estimator on, you know, anything that may have been added or subtracted. So the estimate can be right. At the same time, the lead designer is using that information to create their executive summary. And at the same time, I'm making sure that I know what trade quotes that I need to get and double checking on that. And at the same time, Nina is making sure she knows what she needs to add into the selection sheet and discuss with the client at their selections meeting. So it's just a really great like collaborative meeting to make sure that all the little things get tracked.
So to kind of dumb it down, design equals the paper, the estimator equals the pro estimate, and selections equals Coco. And in the end, they should all be equal.
Yes. And the project developer's job is making sure they all match at the end. So that's why I'm in the meeting. I'm taking my own notes, just making sure like if Nina says, oh, like they got an upgraded faucet, later when I'm checking I'm doing my double check of the executive summary, I'm making sure that note is in there because that's important information.
Right.
So yeah, we literally just run down. If you can sit in one of these one day, I would. We just run down.
Started to sit through one the other day and then I got pulled into something else.
Yeah. So that's kind of like our estimate review, I would say.
Right.
Sales isn't typically involved in this. Sometimes, like Frank, because he's the newer salesperson, will sit down just to make sure we're all like he knows what he's selling, basically.
Right.
And any conversations he's had, but typically he's not. And then for the CA review, do you have any questions on that before we move on?
No. Now, wait, I do. Hold on. Where's my notes? I find one, binder two. No, I don't think I have any questions on that.
And then the CA review, that's an independent task. It's not like a huddle or anything. That's for the sales and the project developer. So just so you know the process, the project developer will write the construction agreement. Usually there should be a draft before the executive summary. And then so we can review that prior to the executive summary. And then the final draft would be after the executive summary because they may add things into the contract at that meeting. So we would just have to go back.
Now who
add that in?
Summary?
Who what? Sorry, you broke out.
Executive summary?
Sorry, I keep hearing who executive summary.
Who drafts the executive summary? Sorry.
Oh, so the lead designer drafts it. because they are the one that would know the most, all the changes.
Right.
And then Denny will actually put he'll use that to make sure his estimate's good. He'll do one more check with that. And then he'll add in the numbers and the numbers for the options as well.
Now, I'm assuming all the binder reviews have to be done before the CA review is done.
So all the binder reviews are done prior to the binder turnover.
Okay.
So, yeah, it'll go 2 to 3 binder reviews. And then the project developer, there's a document that we put together of like everything that we have, what we're still waiting on. We turn that over to the estimator. That turnover includes the cover sheet. It includes the executive summary from the lead designer. It includes the updated drawings and a drafted selection sheet. So all of those items equal the turnover to the estimator. The estimator updates the estimate, and then that gets added to the package and that gets turned over to sales. So there will be another, and part of that package is supposed to be a construction agreement draft that will be reviewed. And
Sounds
then
like a couple of things running tangentially that all come together in the end, right around the CA package.
yeah, so the project developer's job is making sure we get all of those documents from the right people. So I'm the one hounding the designers, I'm the one hounding the estimator, I'm the one hounding the trades to get it all together into one package.
Is there ever a situation where the binder is turned over after the contract is signed?
No, because that binder is the parts that create the contract.
Got it. That was the answer I was looking for.
No worries.
Because every once in a while somebody's like, oh, well, our process is, but we skipped that on this one because it's smaller.
Yeah, so the binder reviews are pretty standard with every project. It just depends on if we do 2 or 3. We're at the point where we always do an executive summary. At some point in the company's history, we used to, some jobs, they wouldn't do executive summary, they would go straight to contract. But in the last, since COVID, I would say we always have an executive summary now. And then a construction agreement, it'll either be a construction agreement meeting or it'll be a digital upload depending on the client.
Got it. And there's obviously a QC that goes along with that.
There's probably a few QCs in that whole process.
Yeah, I'll check with Mark about where those fall. Yeah, because it would seem like binder review, there's like a binder review 1 that's probably before estimate review, and then probably a binder review 2 that comes somewhere along the line of the CA before the CA review. Does that sound about right? If I were trying to line it up linearly, or it comes along.
Sometimes they all kind of intermingle too. Yeah, so I mean,
So probably we just need a column that says binder review 1 and 2 between estimate and CA review and executive summary somewhere.
If I were going to define where the reviews happen, they happen after post trade walk huddle and before binder turnover. Binder turnover / executive summary. Yeah.
All right, I'm going to put binder turnover at executive summary. And of course, the binder is part of the executive summary that becomes part of the big package that goes into the CA. Correct?
Correct.
So right there, binder 1. Okay. All right. clear as mud.
It's definitely easier to sit in and like see the process a few times.
Yeah.
Definitely, I would say. And then at our next training, we'll go over or into the binder prep. Deeper into the binder prep.
Coaching quote forms.